Welcome back to Terrace Treasures. In this video, we're going to take a look at our next project in the Waste to Whimsy series. This vintage office phone eventually was turned into something a bit more whimsical. Here you see me beginning to break down and do an initial cleaning of the phone. I'm also testing all of the features to see if they work or not. Okay, so clearly I have the top off of the phone and I'm pretty excited by what I'm seeing here. I have some thoughts. So this would be how the phone hangs up, and I was thinking that would be kind of cool. I think I'm gonna have multiple thoughts here, and I don't think we're gonna be able to do them all, so it'll just kind of be part of the creative process to figure out what's going to work and what's not. One thing I was thinking is this could be, you could take the receiver, the hand receiver, is that what it's called? No, I think this is the receiver. Anyways, the handpiece, you could take it off and that would turn the lamp on. And this spring does appear to be in pretty good repair, so that's exciting. But we may not end up using that piece at all. It does still have the bell on it. And I haven't really worked out. I don't know how the bell was rung. I didn't really look at that part. But the other interesting thing about this piece is I think this is just going to go away. One, it's like really kind of worn out and nasty. And then two, you can see right here that it has lots and lots and lots of electronics happening with it. But what I'm curious about is whether or not we can reuse the lines. They all seem to be in pretty good working order as well. It's very satisfying, that sound. Oh, it's a little loose, isn't it? I gotta check that. Why is that loose? I didn't see that before. But yeah, they all seem to be working pretty well. And then this is just releases whatever when you have, so like if there's a line there and then you hit that, it releases it. So what I was thinking was, and we did this in the past, Mike did this amazing lamp transformation from a blender, and it had like liquefy, frappe, you know, the different blender settings, and he was able to isolate them and reuse and set it up to where it was a dimmer. So that would be, I think that would be really cool on this if you were able to, you know, like if this was as bright as it goes and then this was as dim as it goes, and then that would turn it off. I think that'd be really cool too. So those are just kind of my initial thoughts on this thing. There's a lot of extraneous hardware here I think that we won't need. However, it does give some bulk to it, which is good. So we might just like leave some of this stuff in here. And or I was thinking that I don't think we're going to want to try to recreate the infrastructure of the phone. So all of this mounting hardware in here, I think will probably end up staying. So I need to find out, is that broken? Is that what's happening here? I need to figure out why that is. Or is it just, I think it just needs to be tightened. That's a weird design. Not a great design in my opinion. So this thing I think just needs to be tightened, and that's why it's sliding like that. But yeah, that's poor design. And the whole thing is floppy. Oh, okay. So it's floppy only because, so one of the screws that holds the base, the top on, also holds this piece to the base of the phone. So again, it's not 100, you know, we're not going to be able to like reuse everything. And I've found with these projects that everything gets really loosey-goosey while you're working on it, and then once you kind of like put it all back together, then it kind of tightens back up again. So anyway, yeah, I'm pretty excited, like I said, by what I found in here. For now, I'm just going to kind of set it aside. I'm going to tape the screws probably either to the handset or the case, and just kind of set it aside just like this, because we're going to have to tear it apart again anyways to work on it. But this was the initial kind of fact-finding phase, if you will, and just kind of seeing what's in here, what we can take out, what we can reuse to turn it into a functional art piece. Here's a quick time lapse that shows some of the lamps that were non-working that I thought we might upcycle for this and the clarinet lamp project. I prefer to reuse something that's broken wherever possible, upcycling and recycling the pieces.
This next piece of footage actually goes on for almost an hour, and I did not include all of it in this video, mercifully. If you would like to see all of the process, I have included it as a link in the description of this video. You can go and watch it at your leisure, and it would make really good background noise if you're working on a project of your own, or doing chores, or in some way need a body double. I have pulled out a few of the highlights that show our decision-making process for the design of the lamp, and some of the issues we ran into and how we solved them.
Your mercy. So let's look at the telephone then. And I don't know that we're going to have exactly what we need for the telephone either. And that one I'm still up for looking at various options.
Do you want this to be 120 volts or do you want this to be 12?
I was thinking 120, but what's the difference? What would be the difference?
The problem and danger, and you could just connect up into these switches. They're leaf switches here.
Okay.
The problem in doing that is these leaf switches, phones aren't made to be run on 120 volts, so they may not hold up, you know, it may not be totally safe. But if you dropped it down to 12 volts, then it would be.
Okay.
But the problem is, now,
what about if we use these? Is that still the same problem?
same problem.
Okay.
All of these are, you know, they're not made for 120 volts.
Okay.
I don't know what these run on, but I don't think they will.
And then is the other option that we just don't use any of the internal stuff and we can use just standard wiring? Like if we don't use anything here, we don't make anything here functional, quote unquote.
Exactly.
Okay. There's this bendy one or this bendy one.
And where do you want it to come off of?
What?
You have to, if you're going to do something like.
Well, I was thinking something like this. So if the carriage comes out from here, but imagine it this way, right? Without the clamp.
Mm-hmm.
We take it off of here and then wire into like here is what I was getting
right
at. And then, you know, then the phone could, but yeah, I don't know. I get what you're saying. There's not a lot of space there, right? I think even without doing fancy schmancy stuff, if we can make the bendy thing work, I think that'd be pretty cool because you can kind of like change the direction of the light.
Okay.
It might look kind of nifty.
This is an M8 by 1 thread.
All right. So what I was thinking was if we did it here, this would be tighter obviously, but I think that could be kind of cool. So it's, you know, hung up like that, and then when you turn the lamp on, I don't think we need to do anything else fancy, but you could still kind of, it's got some directionality to it, you know, it's got like you can move it around and stuff.
So let's see, do you like to look at this or that?
That way. That looks funky. That's more like a phone, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we're getting pretty close to completing the lamp. We worked on making the right size hole for the lamp socket and used a drill press for that.
Should be it. And it is.
Nice.
Here we marked where we wanted the hole for the power cord, and then you see us working on drilling that hole, hoping the case wouldn't crack. We did reuse the power cord from the upcycled lamp, as well as the bendy bit. I don't know if that's a technical term, but that's what I'm calling it. Bendy bit. In some ways, I wish I hadn't switched over to time-lapse because the initial testing of the lamp and proof of concept is only captured in these two still shots. But I think you can see from my face how pleased I am with how it's turning out. A bit of reassembly later and the lamp is complete, but still a bit dusty and dirty. Let's be honest, it was filthy. The final step was to thoroughly clean the new completed lamp and get it ready for the presentation. I included this last little time lapse to show my process of getting ready for the presentation. I was double checking all the lamps and various other materials I would need, almost completely upcycled, of course, and deciding how exactly to set up my presentation elements. The presentation went very well. I always enjoy sharing the importance of reuse, repair, and upcycling with new audiences. Here you see some of the other upcycled lamps that I had on display. Some are from my own collection, and most are borrowed from Mike. I treasure upcycled whimsical lighting almost as much as I treasure you. If you want to be a gem, hit like on this video, tell me in the comments something you learned from this, and consider subscribing if you haven't already. You can also help out the channel by sharing this video with other people in your life who might enjoy the Waste to Whimsy series.
You put your weed in there.
I prefer to use here some.
Sometimes having tiny little hands pays off. Not always, but occasionally.
I suppose that's going to be really tight too.
I mean, if the rest of the day is anything to go on. Surprisingly, these modern things are made too well. You wouldn't think that. Well?
Let's break it.
Okay. Fine. There you go.
Oh, that just clipped on there.
There you go, like that.
Okay, now we got down to the part you wanted, which is the bendy part.
Right. I wonder if it has an official name. It says bendy part.
And it would make a really good background noise if you. A really good background noise? It would make really good. Would make. I don't know.